My name is Kit Hickey. I'm one of the co-founders of Ministry of Supply.
My name is Aman Advani. I'm also co-founder of Ministry Supply, along with our third partner, Gihan.
Our mission is really about empowering people at work.
At the core level, we're making performance clothes for the office. At a much deeper level, we think that if you dress smarter, you'll work smarter.
And we believe that the clothing that we invent is a tool to improve people's lives. So after college, I went into finance for a few years, and I was working in San Francisco and London, and then moved to Boulder, Colorado. And while in Boulder, Colorado, two things happened. One is I was really into outdoor sports, and I was hiking, climbing, and at the same time working in finance where clothing had to be really formal. And it didn't really make sense to me that outdoor clothing prepared you for anything, whether it was rainy or humid or hot or cold. You really felt like you were prepared for whatever might happen. However, business clothing was the exact opposite. It didn't move with you. It didn't make you feel comfortable. It didn't make you feel confident. And I thought there was a huge gap there.
For me personally, I grew up in Atlanta, went to Georgia Tech undergrad and studied engineering there. After that, went on to consulting with Deloitte and spent about 3.5 years there, getting up every Monday morning, getting on a flight at 6 a.m., going to a client site, working till late in the night, and kind of much like Kit, just had this epiphany that I couldn't wait to put my gym clothes on and keep working. So I started Googling stuff like Nike dry fit dress socks, thinking maybe some of this stuff already exists, but it turns out it doesn't. Decided to just start making it myself. So I would start cutting out the soles of my Nike socks and sewing them into my gold-toed dress socks. So I would take those prototypes and show them to friends and see if other people had the same issue, and it turned out they did. So that was kind of a really rudimentary example, and it was one of the first of this idea of performance and professional coming together to create a new category that we call performance professional.
While I was in Boulder, I also started a nonprofit helping entrepreneurs in emerging markets access capital. And I really understood that kind of anybody can come up with an idea and execute it and create a business. So I went back to MIT for business school, kind of with those two thoughts in mind. And amazingly, ended up meeting Aman and really started talking to each other, had really similar ideas, had similar values, and because we're in the same core group, we understood that how we worked and understood that we worked together. MIT is just such a wealth of resources and people that are really excited to connect other people. So Bill Owlett at the Trust Center said to us, "Oh, you guys have to meet Gihan. He's really interested in the same thing, extremely smart person, and has actually been working kind of on fabric development for the last few years."
So he had been kind of cutting up fabric that was made for running T-shirts and sewing them into dress shirts. So the exact same concept, the exact same vision. We were so deeply aligned that he had just finished studying engineering at MIT that we had these complementary skill sets that made the whole puzzle fit together neatly. It was great because we had these prototypes. We showed up to the table and we're just already excited and ready to go. I think there was almost this pleasant situation where, because we were so excited and interested and already in some ways committed, we had business plans, we had prototypes that we could come together, and really the momentum was so quick. I think we got to skip the awkward early phase of is this right, is this something we care about, and jump straight into the how do we build this mode.
While I was in Boulder, I also started a nonprofit helping entrepreneurs in emerging markets access capital. And I really understood that kind of anybody can come up with an idea and execute it and create a business. So I went back to MIT for business school, kind of with those two thoughts in mind. And amazingly, ended up meeting Aman and really started talking to each other, had really similar ideas, had similar values, and because we're in the same core group, we understood that how we worked and understood that we worked together. MIT is just such a wealth of resources and people that are really excited to connect other people. So Bill Owlett at the Trust Center said to us, "Oh, you guys have to meet Gihan. He's really interested in the same thing, extremely smart person, and has actually been working kind of on fabric development for the last few years."
So he had been kind of cutting up fabric that was made for running T-shirts and sewing them into dress shirts. So the exact same concept, the exact same vision. We were so deeply aligned that he had just finished studying engineering at MIT that we had these complementary skill sets that made the whole puzzle fit together neatly. It was great because we had these prototypes. We showed up to the table and we're just already excited and ready to go. I think there was almost this pleasant situation where, because we were so excited and interested and already in some ways committed, we had business plans, we had prototypes that we could come together, and really the momentum was so quick. I think there was we got to skip the awkward early phase of is this right? Is this something we care about? And jump straight into the how do we build this mode.
When we first met up, we were actually thinking about doing men's and women's simultaneously, and even could cramp different prototypes and different product ideas. As we talked to customers, one thing we realized was that men, the problem was a lot easier for us to solve, in that almost all men wear button down dress shirts to work, whereas women have a variety of different options. And because of that, it would have taken a lot longer to kind of get to the starting point for women. So we ended up launching with men, and had always known that women was something we wanted to attack, but just wanted to understand further in terms of who that woman was, what she was wearing, what her options were, and what the pain points were.
We really enjoy the concept or discussions around pricing, because they're one where we get to talk about the value that we create. I mean, ultimately, if it was just cost plus, it wouldn't reflect the value created through our work. So candidly, I think that we'd like to share some deeper framework that we came out with, and we do different points of triangulation. At the end of the day, it's as much an art as it is a science. Is what we found is trying to understand, if we are customers ourselves, what would our willingness to pay be for certain items? What is the value that we've created? What problem have we solved? How can we ask our customer to pay more than the market norm for a certain product? Well, we have to be able to convey that value accurately. And ultimately, even if a product sells at a higher price point than it should, people wouldn't come back. So there are so many different ways we can measure whether or not the price is right.
When we launched, we knew that we were a premium, not luxury company, but we also deeply understood that pricing is something that you can test. It's not something that's stagnant. It's something that you should really play around with and understand a lot and be open to changing. So we've tested lots of different pricing. We've asked customers what they think. We kind of, as we learned at Sloan, been able to triangulate pricing based on a few different things, namely cost, competition, and perceived value. So we've put a lot of thought into pricing. It's something we still have fun talking about all the time today, and are still trying to understand better. Over the last 4 years, we've grown the company a lot. We've learned a lot about our customer. We've increased our product, and we're really excited about not only where we've been, but where we continue to go. And one of the amazing things is that we are still learning, and we are still trying new things, and we are still coming up with kind of new inventions, as we like to think of it. We are really focused on both online and offline, direct to customer. That customer voice, as we've mentioned, is really important to us, and we really want to continue to understand who our customer is and how they evolve as we evolve.
Yeah, so the company's continued to grow at a pace that we're really excited about. I mean, we pride ourselves on doubling year over year, continuing to gain the traction on the health side. So metrics like what's our customer repeat rate, that we tend to spend a lot more time talking about, thinking about, than just sales, sales, sales. Of course, we do need to sell product to stay alive, but where we pride ourselves is on, have we actually built a new behavior? Has our customer, our guy today, does he wake up in the morning and build his wardrobe on one or two pieces of Ministry of Supply clothing? Ultimately, what we want to do is create this entirely new category of clothing, that we want to create a new normal. The same way that cotton running shorts don't exist today, we hope and expect that cotton dress shirts wouldn't exist 10 years from now. And so to do that, we have to build that behavior. And to build that behavior, we have to watch, are we building loyal, deep relationships with customers? So when we talk about kind of where we are today, we're on the right path. We're on track to do that. Now we have to continue to get better and better at building that customer relationship, improving that customer experience, setting great expectations, and then delivering a great reality when that box shows up at your door.